What's going on, guys? The Film Fan Reviews. My name is Stephen Barton II, and today we're doing things a little bit different. I haven't done a video like this yet, and I hope it goes over well, but I'm actually going to do a ranking of my favorite Quentin Tarantino movies. Now, these are all the directed movies by him. I'm not doing like Natural Born Killers or Four Rooms or anything like that, Sin City. Those aren't really counting in here. I'm just doing his solo directing movies. And also, Kill Bill is one movie to me, and that's what's going to be in this ranking. And I'll start off by saying right now too, comment below your ranking. I'd love to see that. I'd love to interact and just talk. Don't be rude. I mean, I'll probably still respond to you and talk with you anyway, but if you're a dick, I'm not going to entertain that stuff. So I know people get a little crazy about ranking videos, so everybody be cool. But I'll start by my bottom and go to my top. And my number 9 is Jackie Brown. Now, this is probably a lot of people's number 9, and I will start right here by saying that this is not a bad movie. It is a really great movie. All of Tarantino's movies are really, really solid. Just Jackie Brown, to me, it's just not my style of movies too much. It was definitely, still had the feeling a little bit of Pulp Fiction. It was the film after that, and I think a lot of people's expectations were really high coming off of Pulp Fiction, and they wanted something just like that, and because it was so much of a different story and a different take on different things, I feel like people were really disappointed in it. That's not my take on it. I just really like a lot of the other movies more, and it's the one I usually, if I'm rewatching a lot of them, I'm still going to rewatch it because I love the movie, but it's not the one that I'm going to throw in first and be like, I gotta see this one right now. But I still own it on Blu-ray, and I will watch it along with all the others. It's just not something that I think about that often. It's not something that stuck with me that much. There are scenes in it that are amazing, especially the scene with De Niro in the parking lot. You'll know what I'm talking about if you've seen the movie. Just lots of crazy stuff that happens unexpectedly that I personally love, and I actually want to go back and rewatch it. I haven't rewatched it in a while, so I actually might do that this weekend. So yeah, those are my feelings on Jackie Brown, and that is my number 9. Now number 8, we're moving up to, it's still his directed movie. It's in the Grindhouse film. I own the Blu-ray of that, and it's one film in that. But Death Proof, the movie he directed alongside Planet Terror that Robert Rodriguez did. And Death Proof, obviously the one with Kurt Russell being a stunt driver who also is kind of a murderer. It's pretty crazy and wild, but I actually saw this movie before I saw Planet Terror because I watched it separately on, I think it was like on demand on Stars or something like that when I was new, just came out on demand and stuff like that. But this is a wild movie, and it might have been, it was definitely one of the earlier Tarantino movies that I saw because I actually didn't get introduced to Tarantino until I started watching a lot of Robert Rodriguez movies. Like Spy Kids when I was a kid were my thing. So then when I realized, I started watching like Once Upon a Time in Mexico and stuff like that, the more adult Robert Rodriguez movies, I started to come across Tarantino. And then my brothers actually and I were watching Death Proof, and my older brother Coda wanted to show this one to me, and it was just so wild and crazy that we both love it. We watch it all the time, but for a filmmaking standpoint, it's not my favorite of the Tarantino movies either, but it's just so ridiculous and out there, and it fits so well in that grindhouse style of movie that it's just so much fun to watch. Kurt Russell is phenomenal in it, just playing a crazy dude. It's so weird, and it's definitely a movie that I don't think a lot of people really enjoy that much, but I think it's a blast, and it's a great time to watch if you're interested. So yeah, Death Proof, number 8. Now we're coming in at number 7 with that movie that we talked about at the beginning, Kill Bill. I'm counting Kill Bill Volume 1 and Volume 2 as one film, even though there are talks right now that Kill Bill Volume 3 might come out, which I'm all for. But I really enjoy Kill Bill. I enjoy the first one a lot more than I enjoy the second volume. And I think that's why it's lower on my list, is because I don't think he stuck the landing all that well with the second one. I really wish If you would have just edited it together as one movie, I think it would have been a lot better, because I think there's a lot of filler at the beginning of the second one, but that's just my opinion. I probably should rewatch it again, because I've only seen the two of them probably 2 times at most, because they just haven't really been that thrilling to me, but I do own them. I might revisit and change my rankings in the comments maybe, but right now, I mean, the fighting in this movie is awesome. The story is really cool. All the characters are crazy and wonderful. And it's a really fun time, but they're just, as I keep stating, there are higher up movies for me that I rewatch all the time. And this is the one that I go back and revisit that often, just because I don't really see, it just really didn't grab me as much as it did everybody else. So that's why it's at number 7, and I might move it up later, but that's where it's sticking for now. And at number 6, I'm surprised it's this low for me, because this is one that I rewatch a lot lately especially, and that's The Hateful Eight. Now, a lot of people, it seems like, were pretty underwhelmed by this movie. They thought it was not the best, and I don't know why some people said it was like messy and stuff like that, which I do not understand. I think it's very well organized and edited together. Awesome. But I just love that contained story in this cabin, this time period, and the cinematography in this movie is by far my favorite of Richardson's, by far. Just because of the huge, wide, beautiful landscapes and everything like that. And then just going inside this cabin for probably 90% of this movie. And just still being in that small space, you could get really trapped with a camera and everything looks the same, but it doesn't in that movie. It looks so good. And the acting from everybody in the movie, even the smaller roles in this movie, are acted phenomenally. I rewatched this movie because it's just so much fun, although it is long, and I really want to watch the cut up extended version on Netflix. I still haven't yet, but I plan to as soon as I can. But it's just so much, I just love the characters so much. It's the main thing. And then just how the story flows, and we go back and forth between each character, and we kind of see what they were doing at the time of what was happening in the story. And we see it from different point of views, and that's just so much fun to me. It doesn't get too confusing. Quentin's narration definitely helps a little bit too, but it's just so much fun to watch, and I just get invested in the story each time, so that's why it's definitely at my number 6, and I'm honestly surprised it's there, but it was in a different spot. But since Once Upon a Time in Mexico, no, not Robert Rodriguez, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood came out, that bumped it down, because now Once Upon a Time in Hollywood is my number 5 film. Now you can see, I'll probably link it somewhere, my actual review of Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, and I've talked about it. I just love the way that movie turned out. I was scared of what they were going to do with the Sharon Tate real tragedy that happened, and I think it was handled quite well. I don't want to say what happens, because I'd rather you experience it for yourself, but definitely check out my review, and I go in more in depth with my thoughts on that one, but that's my number 5. My number 4 film is Inglourious Basterds. Now, I love World War II films and movies that are set in that time period, but this one is still in that time period, but Quentin kind of like turns it on its head just a little bit, doing some wild stuff. He changes up history, obviously, everybody knows. It's a spoiler, I guess, but he kills Hitler in the movie, which is always an awesome thing to do. But they just do some wild stuff, and Christoph Waltz, it's one of the best movies he'll probably ever be in. I love him in a lot of movies, but this role is like a once-in-a-lifetime thing, and he just knocked it out of the park. Brad Pitt, scalping Nazis and everything like that, and Eli Roth as the Bear Jew and everything like that. All just such perfect stuff in this movie that it's just so memorable. That's the main thing about this movie. Since I watched it, there are scenes that I will never forget, and I just think about them all the time and think, wow, that's some awesome stuff. Inglourious Basterds is actually a lot of people's number 1, which I completely understand, but I just, the movies that are higher up on this list are definitely ones that just grabbed me even more than this one. This one, like I said at the beginning, all of these movies are fantastic, but These 3 movies ahead of it are just a little bit better, but Inglourious Basterds is still like a masterpiece of a film, and honestly, it could make an argument for number 1 too, but that's at my number 4 for now. Now, number 3 might surprise some people. It's definitely others' number 1, but it is Pulp Fiction. Now, don't go all crazy on me, guys. I really love Pulp Fiction. I think it's an amazing movie, and it's definitely high up there as one of the best movies of all time, probably for a lot of people, including myself. There's just so many great working components of this movie. Tim Roth, Samuel L. Jackson, and just everyone in this movie, just so phenomenal. The cast is like a dream cast for being 1994 or whatever. John Travolta, everybody in this movie just knocks it out of the park. Bruce Willis, just everybody. It's a movie, it's probably, actually no, I probably haven't watched it as much as I've watched my number 2 movie. But it's definitely up there. It's just being a movie you can go back and rewatch all the time, and it's just so much fun. It's just, it made history at the time. People want to recreate what Quentin did with a just small movie and just blowing it up and becoming one of the well-known and best filmmakers of all time. This movie definitely is what got him on the map, what got his name for everybody, and it's completely warranted because it's just, story-wise it works, acting works, just everything in this movie works so well. And there are some nods to it in his later films. Specifically, I forgot to say in the review of Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, but stay into the credits because there's a little nod to something that Tarantino created in Pulp Fiction, which are is it apple cigarettes, apple worm cigarettes, something like that? In Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, the actor of Cliff Booth, who actually is played by Leonardo DiCaprio, he does a little commercial spot for the cigarettes, and it is by far my favorite thing that I've ever seen in a after credit type thing ever. Get out of here, Marvel, because that was so great. But yeah, just fun stuff like that. I feel like it's definitely one of Tarantino's favorite movies that he's ever made too, which is really cool to see. But there is one movie specifically that I think is just leaps and bounds my favorite. It might not be the best, but it's my favorite. But Pulp Fiction, number 3. So my number 2 movie and my most watched movie of the Tarantino films is Django Unchained. I adore this movie. It's definitely my most watched movie. It was the first Tarantino movie I saw in theaters, and it's just so much fun to watch for me. Christoph Waltz playing Dr. Schultz, maybe not as memorable as his character in Inglourious Basterds, but I think it's definitely memorable, and he knocked it out of the park with this one too. Jamie Foxx, Leonardo DiCaprio, Kerry Washington, Samuel L. Jackson, just everybody in this movie did a phenomenal job. Looks fantastic. Really captured that Western feel. I feel like the film really captured the time period of this terrible time in history. And it doesn't try to brush over all of the terrible stuff that happened, but it also makes it almost like you're just following this person that you just want to succeed and you want this hero to win. And with Jamie Foxx being that hero, it's definitely a hero story, and you just keep following him, and you just keep cheering him on and wanting him to get through all this hardship so he can be a free man. And it's just so much fun to watch for me. All the performances are top notch. I mean, I couldn't think of a better cast for this movie. Anyone in this movie, I don't think could be replaced. But yeah, it's my most rewatched movie. I've written several papers on it for college and everything like that because it's just, I think it's damn near a masterpiece in my eyes, and I could rewatch it all day, every day, and that's why it's my number 2. But my number 1, it's his first movie. It might be my favorite movie of all time. It goes back and forth between that and The Departed, Martin Scorsese, but Reservoir Dogs, so great. If you visit the filmfanreviews.blogspot.com, it was the first review I wrote on my blog way back in, I think I started it probably in like 2015, 2016 maybe. And I just wrote it. It's not a good review written at all. It was really bad. And I haven't gone back to look at it I don't want to. But I watched it that day and I was like, it inspired me to start writing reviews because I just love it so much. Because it was his first movie, he did it for no money. He does a movie about these guys doing a bank heist, or a jewelry heist, I'd say. I'm pretty sure they like stole diamonds or something like that. But they do a heist, and they don't even show the heist. But you feel like you were a part of it. You feel like you saw the heist, even though they cut to them running out and trying to escape, and they find out they have a rat in their group. And you don't even see the stuff that's the big part that actually happens. You don't see it, but you feel it. And that's so awesome that he was able to do that, because that's just something that is great filmmaking. Make the audience feel like you saw something, even though you don't have the money to record it or film it at all. But you feel like you know everything that's going on by their dialogue and just by their actions. Their emotions and everything in the movie. You feel like you're there with them, even though you don't even see half the stuff that actually happens. But that just shows how you can make something so great with nothing. It inspired me to want to go to film school and want to pursue and try to write and try to make something like this. I'm not ever going to try to copy anyone, but obviously, if I can do something that revolutionary, I would love to do so, because this movie definitely made my filmmaking brain actually turn on and develop, because that's just so cool that he can do something with nothing. So yeah, that's the magic of Tarantino, and that is my list of the top 9 movies that he's done. And I'll just run through them again real quick. Number 9, Jackie Brown. Number 8, Death Proof. Number 7, Kill Bill, The Complete, Volume 1 and 2. Number 6, The Hateful Eight. Number 5, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. Number 4, Inglourious Bastards. Number 3, Pulp Fiction. Number 2, Django Unchained. And the number 1 movie for me is Reservoir Dogs. Now, that's my ranking video. I appreciate you all for watching this. I really encourage you, please put your ranking of those movies in the comment section. I would love to see them. We can talk back and forth of our opinions in a respectful manner, everyone, please. Share the video if you could, please, and subscribe to the channel. filmfanreviews.blogspot.com. I'll put it right here, and the link will be in the description. You can go back and read that that first review of Reservoir Dogs. I'd almost rather you didn't, but if you do, don't be too harsh, because it was the first one I've ever written. So, other than that, thank you all so much for watching.